Good morning and welcome to yet another Star Trek podcast. I'm your host for the day, or I'm also potentially Brad for the day, depending on how you look at it. But yes, my name is Brad, and as usual, I am joined by the two most fabulous, flamboyant men I know. I have, of course, in front of me, the man with the most stunning head of hair, Drew. How you doing there, buddy?
What the hell? Oh my god, this is gonna be a special recording.
I'm bald.
Drew, you're not bald, you just have clear hair.
Clear and patchy.
And as usual, the most scrawny, ill muscle individual I know, the man with the best laugh, Majeed.
Hi. This is gonna be a special recording. I feel it. I'm already laughing my butt off. This is gonna be special.
Well, I think you're right. I mean, it is special. It is the last episode this season for Strange New Worlds, so it's pretty exciting, right?
How did you pull the season finale, Brad?
Oh, because Majeed swapped with me.
Right.
Because remember, I hosted the season beginning, right?
How did Majeed pull this originally the season finale?
I think I just bullied Brad that one day.
Wow.
I think I just bullied him like,
No, I remember, what was it? It was like his favorite episode was like, yo, I really like this episode. I need to host.
Yes, I remember that. Which one was that?
That is an uncanny impression of me.
It is
Please
accurate.
Never do it again.
That was uncanny and accurate.
Never do it again.
Brad was even flexing his muscles while he was making that impression of you.
Oh yeah, I got a full on macho there.
Yep. You can't see it, but his chest muscles are flexing. Unfortunately, the webcam is only showing him from the shoulders up. So
yeah, so you just see the great shoulder muscles I have.
Scrawny.
I'm pretty sure the episode was Memento Mori.
Oh yeah,
Majeed. I think that was the one where you're just like, I loved it.
Isn't that the one with the Gorn the last time? The first Gorn?
So?
Yeah, I think that was the first Gorn episode.
Pretty sure it was, yeah. But anyways, gentlemen, how you guys doing? It's been a full week since we've chatted in person like this.
I talk to Drew every day.
I'm tired, Brad. I'm always tired. I woke up. No, this is a personal victory. Yesterday, I woke up at 3 p.m. instead of 4 p.m. And for the listeners that are tuning in for the first time, no, I'm not just lazy. Like, I work an overnight shift. So I woke up at 3 p.m. and I actually got some exercise in before I went into work. So I feel really good and really accomplished about that, because I've been really struggling to do that on my overnight hours. This is the first time that I made the effort to do it. The downside is now here I am. As soon as we're done recording, I'm going to go to sleep, and I'm an extra hour more tired than I usually am.
Well, be sure when you do the editing to set yourself applause in this little segment here, sir.
Yay!
Don't tell him how to edit. He hates that.
Yay!
Majeed, how about you, man? How's everything been going on your side?
It's pretty good. It's really good. It's really good. Really good. I finally cleaned my truck. I'm not sure. I think I've told Drew this because we're best friends.
And we talk every day.
I used to have a smaller sedan. Ended up getting a pickup truck. My wife took the sedan, and even though I don't drive the sedan as much, I find myself cleaning her car a lot more than I clean my truck. And it's been, I think, a full-on 6 months. So I finally cleaned my truck, and it felt good. It felt like Drew talked about a personal victory. This is my personal victory.
Yeah, I can definitely relate with that.
Yeah, but I drove my wife's car today, and it's like, oh God, why? I'm so happy she doesn't listen to this. Because if she did,
none of our wives do. We can say some
you would be
stuff
in the doghouse.
Although my wife is in the other room and she can hear me talking about her, so
yeah,
Hi, Drew's wife.
I'm sure it's all good things, though.
We should do a segment every episode just about our personal victories for the week. Brad,
okay.
Brad, what is your personal victory?
That can just be a separate podcast,
It could be.
This past weekend at the new house, I dug up it was 5 bushes and removed like the roots and everything around the side of the house.
You don't know. I'm sorry to interrupt, but gardening talk gets me a little excited. Continue.
Oh no, like I'm getting prepared because the plan is so the way the house was structured is like on the side, the left corner, and going to the back, there was like 5 bushes or 6 bushes total, and like our goal was to rip out all the bushes, dig down, and then put some white stone so then I can put the trash barrels there. Because there's really like the only other option would be to keep the trash barrels within the carport, and I really wanted some sort of designated area. And quite frankly, the bushes were getting to a point where it was risking potential damaging the house. So I needed to rip those off, and that was quite an accomplishment. It was down digging in the dirt, and man, some of those bushes were real hard to rip out. So I had to use my back muscles, get those shovels down in deep.
What back muscles?
I hate you.
Brad did back day that day.
Did you say Brad word at first?
I said Brad worked.
Okay.
But Brad word also works.
Yeah. But no, I have a lot of yard work ahead of me, so I'm pretty excited about that.
There's people you can hire. There's people you can hire to do that.
Or you could just do it yourself and have a level of pride.
I love how Majeed is talking trash and telling you to hire somebody when he's busted his ass in his own property, turning it into his own like backyard paradise. So
I've had no choice.
I'll be honest, man. Like that's actually what I'm dreaming for is like something like that. Yeah. So Majeed, you inspire me.
Dude. I got bullied though. I got bullied by my wife.
Well, I can assure you, my wife is complete opposite and is like, I don't give any care at all. Get rid of all the plant life.
See, I thought that this entire week all you were doing is just putting Legos together.
Yeah,
it did sound that way.
Yeah,
so
that's.
I've wanted for the past couple of years to really spruce up the backyard. I wanted to plant new grass seed and everything. And what's happened since we bought the house? I think this is our 4th summer here now. We in the past few years, like we haven't really had the money to complete any project, so we'd kind of start something and it would be half-assed. And we would do the best with what we have, but would never really get completed to my satisfaction. Now we have the money, and I don't have the time.
Yeah.
It's infuriating. I have
you should
the most weedy lawn, and it drives me just bonkers. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
Oh. Drew, your satisfaction means a lot to me. And you should be satisfied, and you should be able to finish whatever you start so you can get that satisfaction.
So what Majeed is saying is he's going to come over and take care of your lawn for you.
I can help you. I can help you, and you can obtain that satisfaction. I mean, I can help you get satisfied if that's what you need.
I may take you up on that actually, because I really want to get some brick for a fireplace outside, and I don't have a truck, and I know somebody that does.
Brad,
I feel like Majeed is kind of realizing what he's committing himself to now. He's like, crap.
No,
don't worry.
Listen, I love doing outdoor stuff. I love and hate doing outdoor stuff because starting it is always like, and then it's like, oh yeah, look, it's finally coming together, just like those 8 YouTube videos I saw.
Well, but you also get to buy a lot of new toys when you do that.
That's true.
Like I'm excited. I bought like a new lawnmower, bought a blower. It's gonna be fun.
Power tools are awesome.
I love power tools. I have a lot of battery stuff now, but I because of all the tools and projects I have going on, I don't often have time for personal stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking about time, do you guys want to start talking about this time-related episode?
I don't actually, because there was something because Drew and I are best friends. We talked about cruises, like going on a cruise together. And something that came across my Facebook algorithm was the Star Trek cruise. So I threw that link in our chat. I'm not sure if you saw this, Brad.
No, I didn't. There is
a Star Trek cruise. Drew, was it Norwegian?
Was it hosted by Will Wheaton?
No, Will Wheaton Will Wheaton wasn't a part of the cruise, but Jonathan Frakes was there. Data is on the cruise, and tickets for this cruise are like $2,000 for like a really basic interior room. Once you start
how many days is that?
It's 7 days.
7 days.
That's pretty high up there.
It's called Star Trek: The Cruise #6. It's got a pretty awesome cast. Kate Mulgrew, Doug Jones, Sarah Middich, Michelle Hurd, Jonathan Frakes, Brent Spiner, Marina Sirtis, Denise Crosby,
I know 2 of those people.
John Delancey, Robert O'Reilly, Terry Farrell, Nana Visitor, Armin Shimmerman. I'm not going to read the whole thing. It would just take a while. But I mean, long story short, it's pretty much everybody that you would expect.
I mean, I also expect Will Wheaton. It feels like the kind of thing Will Wheaton would be a part of because, he's cool as hell.
Will Wheaton is pretty cool, but he picks and chooses
he does.
what projects he gets involved with when it comes to Star Trek.
Yeah.
And he also takes the pandemic very seriously.
Yeah. I could also see him being the kind of guy that's afraid to go on a cruise because he can't swim.
That's just mean.
That is.
But sorry, Brad. I want to talk about that because I know that Drew and I talked about it, but because you were
because you don't want to involve or include me. I see how it is.
Well, no, you're just busy building Legos and doing gardening stuff.
Yes.
Hey, by the way, when you're gardening and you're doing outside stuff, do you have overalls that you're wearing with just like one part of the overall connected and then one of those big straw hats?
I'm not Boimler.
That's debatable.
Your name is Brad.
That's
Word.
True. Well, folks, this week's episode was called A Quality of Mercy, where Starfleet's Boy Scout, aka Original Pike, attempts to change the future after a chance encounter with a child, one who will perish during his future accident. A future Pike warns of catastrophic consequences of this action and shows him what's to come if he does through the power of time crystals. I want to point out time crystals. I feel like a very Dark Crystal vibe from it. That's just me.
What's that?
I hate the term time crystals.
What's Dark Crystal?
It's a movie.
Is it a good movie?
We'll move on.
Hate you.
Upon touching the crystal, OP, I'm gonna call Original Pike OP because that's how I roll. OP
you should call him Zaddy Pike.
I mean, OP sounds like old Pike to me.
Or overpowered Pike.
That's Original Pike though. Or do I do CP?
No, we could always do Zaddy Pike and Zaddier Pike.
I'll just do Zaddy and then Future Pike.
Or Zaddier.
Zaddy. Zaddy.
See,
Zaddy is thrust into the future where the accident still occurred.
Hold on.
But
hold on. You just said Zaddy is thrust, and I want.
Hey, you guys losing your crap this morning? I really hope you are.
I'm sorry.
Well, Mr. Zaddy is thrusted into the future where the accident still occurred, but no one was killed because of his actions. He finds himself performing a wedding, not knowing the names of the bride and groom. Saved by the bell, red alert, Zaddy makes his way to the bridge. An unknown threat has attacked multiple outposts alongside the neutral zone. Almost immediately after arriving at the outpost, a Romulan ship decloaks and destroys the station. Thankfully, a Starfleet vessel called the Farragut warps in to provide the Enterprise assistance. The captain of the ship turns out to be Sam Kirk's brother, Tiberius. Spock identifies a possible way to track the cloaked ship, and both the Enterprise and the Farragut navigate their way to follow. Eventually, Uhura and Spock identify a signal that may be coming from the Romulan ship and will have an opportunity to see the Romulans for the first time. And it turns out they look like Vulcans? I want to comment to this part is that after a 100-year war, they never saw what Romulans look like, and they're very surprised with Vulcans.
Yeah, it was a little weird.
That was a little much. I did like the dramatic zoom in of Ortega's face where it's like highlights her eyes, but like, oh my god, what is this? Both crews make an attempt to disable the Romulan ship, but it turns out they were tricked, and the Romulans decloak behind the Farragut, badly damaging the ship. Tiberius and the crew beam over to the Enterprise, and it turns out Singh came back to Starfleet after only 2 episodes and is now a commander on the Farragut. Spock identifies the Romulan ship is damaged, and Zadie makes an attempt at a ceasefire with the Romulans, and it works. Both ships work towards repairing their ships. This is short-lived, however. An insubordinate member of the Romulan crew sends a message calling the Romulan fleet to their location. Outshipped and clearly outgunned, the crew of the Enterprise has no chance of surviving. Tiberius takes a shuttle from the Enterprise and gets multiple mining ships to warp in to have a ruse of indicating that that is the Starfleet Armada. After the Enterprise transmits proof to the Romulans that they started the whole thing, they destroy their own ship and then make an attempt to destroy the Enterprise. After narrowly escaping the engagement, Zadie discovers that Spock is severely wounded from the battle while trying to repair the ship, and he's taking his place of being mortally wounded. Future Pike shows up again and to take Zadie back to the future? Past? Future past? Takes him back to the something. Then once there, the Zadie decides not to write the letter, and unfortunately he also finds out that number 1 is escorted off the ship through Starfleet security because she is modified. To sum up this week's episode, Pike's pony's name is Sir Nasalot. Tiberius is such a really weird name, and Pike inadvertently started a war with the Romulans. Gentlemen, that was such a future-filled episode, and I feel partly that Majeed finally has his answer to what happened to those missing 3 days when the Enterprise lost in the previous episode in the original series.
Well, technically, wouldn't this have occurred before those 3 days?
Well, I know technically it happened after.
Well, maybe the flash forward did. Yeah. Okay.
Yep, that's what I mean.
Okay. Yeah.
Technically, it's after.
Time travel is confusing sometimes.
You gotta draw me a chart because I didn't make the connection about the 3 days, Brad.
It's gonna be the chart with Charlie pointing at the
Pepe Silva.
Yeah.
So gentlemen, how did you feel? Drew, let's start with the elephant in the room. Those outfits, man. The outfit from Future Pike, wearing the original movie's outfit for Starfleet.
Yeah. Man.
Turtleneck swagger.
I love that uniform. It is my favorite Star Trek uniform. Full stop. And I just lost it the moment I saw Pike standing there in that uniform. I have to admit, I'm not 100% crazy about the spin they put on it. I don't like that darker maroon on the sleeves, the pattern that they have on the current uniforms seems to have made its way into that variant as well. And I thought that looked a little weird, but overall, though, I think it just far outweighs the negative. Just seeing that uniform and, oh man, I mean, Anson Mount wears it well.
Oh, I completely agree. The them aging him to a point where it actually looked like he did get older while he was in there. I don't know if it was CGI or just makeup. They did a good job with that. But I do agree, like that outfit really fit him well.
Yeah.
Majeed, since that's probably your first time seeing that outfit, what'd you think?
I didn't get it. I learned everything in Drew's explanation.
Well, no,
even last night.
When did you like the outfit? Did you think it was like kind of cool, or just kind of like meh about it?
I thought it was too much. Listen, in terms of practicality, Starfleet officers have to use the bathroom. That's a lot to go through to use the bathroom.
He's wearing pants. It's not a jumpsuit.
It's not a onesie.
Yeah.
It's not a onesie?
No.
No,
it's akin to like wearing jeans and a sweatshirt.
Didn't Picard wear a onesie?
That's a different uniform, sir.
Well, anyways, I don't know if you noticed, Drew, in the beginning of the episode when Pike was talking with the commander of the outpost, before he goes to the future, the commander of the outpost had a different Starfleet badge.
Yes, that is also a nice throwback to the original series. Wasn't uncommon for other ships or outposts to have different deltas,
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm pretty sure like they kind of unified those in like the later series.
Yeah.
They kind of made them all consistent and the same, but it was a nice little. I felt a little Easter egg in that sense.
Yeah, I totally loved it. I think there was another episode too where there was a different ship, and their uniforms also had a different insignia as well too. I'm trying to remember. I'm not 100% sure on that, but in Strange New Worlds, I mean, in the original series, it happens frequently. We'll see episodes where we'll run into other Starfleet vessels and they'll have a different insignia.
Mm-hmm. So I'm guessing from your earlier comments, Drew, the time crystals were not one of the things you were very favorable of.
So it's the name, right? I hated it in Discovery. I hate it in Strange New Worlds. I feel like they were sitting in the writer's room and basically it's like, okay, we want them to travel through time. Oh, I got it. We could use crystals to do it. All right, cool. What are we going to call them? Time crystals. How about you, Majeed? Were you a fan of this little plot point, having time crystals?
It gave me MCU vibes. All I could think of was Doctor Strange. It was the same color, right? Time stone and
I think so. It was green.
It was like a green, yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess that's going to be the standard color of time stones going forward in every universe. So I said last night, watching this episode, I said this episode was made for me, right? And Drew's like, well, what do you mean? I said, well, I'll talk about it right now.
Yeah.
Well, today, this morning. So what I mean is partway through the season, I said to Drew, which inadvertently gaslit him, I said, I want them to change canon. I would want them to alter canon so we can get more time with Pike. I want to see what he would have done during his tenure if it had not been cut short. So with that being said, this episode gave me that. This episode gave me a point of time where the timeline was changed. And, Pike is still captain of the Enterprise going forward. It gave me a ticking clock. You know how much I love ticking clocks. I love tension. I love a mystery. War games. I love all that. So this episode was made for me. And it threw in fan service Easter eggs that even me, a casual-ish viewer, was able to appreciate. So the audio cues from James T. Kirk, when he walked onto the bridge, he walked into the Enterprise. I'm not sure if you caught the audio cue from the original TOS.
I heard that, yeah.
It was subtle but well done.
It was very well done. The mutual respect that Spock and Kirk kind of had immediately, I thought that was pretty cool. And they changed up Ortegas.
They did.
Yeah, something happened to Ortegas where she is not a smartass as much.
This entire episode is an alternate look at the events of a original series episode we have not yet watched called Balance of Terror. The plot of Balance and Terror is everything that we saw involving the Romulans. But James Kirk is in command of the Enterprise instead of Christopher Pike. And things went wildly differently. Ortegas is essentially playing the role of another character in that episode. So there's a crewman at the helm that is freaking out in the same way that Ortegas is, that says the mildly racist things that Ortegas said about Spock. She's filling those shoes. I'm not entirely sure what the crewman's name is, but
we'll see soon, because I think that's the season 1, isn't it?
It is. It's coming up soon. It's probably one of the. I'm pretty sure. You know what? I think it's the next. It's 2 episodes from now once we start recording TOS again. So we have 2 episodes, and we're there. And I'm very excited. Like I've been looking forward to watching this episode because I'm very familiar with Balance of Terror. I've never seen it though.
Ooh, I can respect that. I can respect that because I am very familiar with various movies. Some movies that are really well received, and I've never seen them.
Sure,
I just am familiar with them, so I get that. I respect that.
So, gentlemen, what were your thoughts on James T. Kirk?
Not my Kirk. Hashtag not my Kirk.
I'm trying to keep an open mind. It's difficult because we didn't get enough time with the actor in the role to give him a fair shake, right? We got maybe half an hour of him in this episode. We've had multiple hours of Chris Pine, and we've had, hundreds of hours. No, Chris Pine.
Kelvin Universe.
Yeah. He's done 3 movies, so we've gotten a decent amount of screen time with him. And obviously, hundreds of hours of William Shatner. So it's hard for me to immediately say this guy is no good.
Mm-hmm.
But
the way he portrayed it felt more closer to Chris Pine's than actual Shatner's.
Right.
So.
Paul Wesley is the actor's name, by the way. He's got big shoes to fill. Let's make no mistake.
So if this episode is a parallel of Beyond the Terror Dome, Beyond Balance of Terror.
Yes, there you
go. Not Mad Max. So Balance of Terror is supposed to be a mirrored events of this episode. I think when we get there, you should compare William Shatner's performance to whatever hashtag not my Kirk did, and kind of see then, because it's essentially Kirk in the same time.
I don't really think so, because it would be Shatner as in Pike's position, so it would be kind of a different role reversal. I don't know much about that episode, but is there even another Starfleet ship that helps the Enterprise in that case, the Farragut?
No spoilers.
Well, the Farragut is the ship that Kirk was stationed on prior to the Enterprise. So what basically happened, according to this timeline, is instead of leaving the Farragut and taking over the Enterprise, he just took over the Farragut.
Okay, so then there's no other ship in that episode that comes to help, and so there's not 2 captains trying to figure out.
To my knowledge, no.
Okay. So we'll see. We'll see what that episode is like.
Yeah.
But I do think the James did a very good job in that portraying Kirk. I think it was a decent role for the episode. Obviously, from what I recall, like a lot of the pictures I saw with the character was from this episode.
Yeah, in hindsight, I'm pretty sure it was.
Far as like I remember reading like he would be coming in season 2. Is that is that still true, or is it just something like it was like a one shot? I really hope it was just a one shot though.
No, they announced him for season 2.
Well, they announced him for season 2, but I'm wondering if it's under the guise of him being in season 1, like in this episode, because they've done stuff like that before where they've kind of given red herrings in season finales and stuff like that.
That would be nice.
So I also want to point out that we got more screen time of Jim Kirk in this episode than we did of Sam Kirk the entire season. Just gonna put it out there.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. I mean, Sam did show up.
Sam showed up, and by the way, at the very end of the episode, when we see the injured crewman on the bio bed, I said, "Oh my God, Drew got his wish. Sam Kirk is gravely injured." I had to rewind. I had to rewind a couple times. I'm like, "Oh my God, is that Sam Kirk? Did they burn off his mustache?"
I'm pretty sure he was fine.
Yeah. Sam Kirk, as far as we know, survived this. However,
he was blown out the airlock.
Our beloved Spock did not fare so
well. It really did feel like there was some sort of change or distance within the crew from the previous episodes with this one. Clearly, was it 7 years in the future about? Like something clearly happened, or time had progressed and changed the actions, and the crew definitely felt different.
Yeah, they weren't as bonded.
Which I actually kind of liked, because it made it feel a little more realistic. People do drift apart. It felt like you could tell that it's not your timeline.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think they needed to kind of do those little things to set that apart, to really hammer that point home. And there were, I don't know, it definitely felt like the things that had happened had changed the crew. Like number one, not being there. For example, which we can get into a little bit more in a moment. But her presence being gone, and Lon being off the ship and on another ship at this point, and
well, Majeed mentioned Hemmer is gone, and we got a little audio clip of Scotty.
We did.
Yeah, we definitely got a little. We got a little arm action too. Ooh, I don't want to say arm action. That sounds weird.
Do we know who that person was who was doing the audio clip for Scotty?
They never made any kind of public announcement.
I really hope it was Simon Pegg.
Yeah. I think it was a generic, or what would have been really cool is if they did some sort of like recording from like a TOS. They found some sort of recording and they could use that.
I'm sure we'll kind of get the scoop in about a week or two from Memory Alpha, but I'm just kind of quickly combing through that.
Yeah, it's also possible that even Anson Mount himself or some of the cast will just say, "Oh, did you happen to catch all these nods to the original series? We did X with X because Y."
Oh, they do have a name for the actor that did it too.
Simon Pegg,
gentleman by the name of Matthew Wolfe. He's an English actor.
Boo.
Well, I mean, James Doohan was Canadian, so at least this is in the same, region of the world.
Canada?
No, never mind.
All right.
That's a demerit for you, Majeed.
You can't give demerits.
Can I?
Yeah, go for it.
You get a demerit.
No, Drew can just cut me out of the podcast. He has different power.
He's the almighty editor.
Right.
But it'd be interesting to see who they cast, because I could also see them just using a random voice actor to do it, somebody that they feel is like a generic Scotty voice, and then the real actor is somebody different in that.
Do you know who, Brad, you may know who this is. Ross McQuaid. He was on The Walking Dead.
Nope.
He played Red Skull in Avengers Infinity War. And he did like a spot on impression of Hugo Weaving as Red Skull. And then he also did the voice of Ultron in the What If seasons. The What If episodes.
I know who you're talking about. I can't picture the face, but I know who you're talking about.
It's a generic face. But the reason that I'm bringing him up is that he is such a versatile voice actor. Like he is, able to, change his voice depending on what he needs to. So I'm sure he could have also pulled off that role. If they ever to cast someone as Scotty, I hope they would pick up Ross McQuaid.
Well, the guy that they had do this is pretty prolific in voice acting. He's lent his voice out to a number of video games and animated movies. I'm looking at his IMDb page, and it's no joke. This guy's put in some work. 84 credits.
So moving on to number 1, that ending with them taking her away. How did you guys feel about that? I'm gonna go with Drew first. Drew, I feel like you are not very favorable of that whole little segment.
Well, I just kind of wish that we had more time with number 1. I feel like the character was underutilized this entire season. We had a great episode at the very beginning of the season that really focused on her, and then we just sort of kind of got little bits and pieces of her sprinkled throughout. And I don't know if it was, just, COVID protocols in, when they were filming this that kind of kept actors apart from each other, or what the case was. But I don't know. I just feel like they didn't really use her to her full potential. I thought Rebecca Romaine did a great job, and I really liked the character of number 1. We just didn't get to learn enough about her. So when they cuffed her and took her away, it didn't really have the impact I was kind of hoping it would have.
Well, this may also bring back Lon. This may bring her back because Lon
I have no doubt in my mind that Lon is going to be in season 2, and I have no doubt that number 1 will be in season 2. I suspect that that's pretty much where things are going to pick up. Is we got to go get our first officer back. But maybe not. Maybe this is how Spock becomes the first officer. If that's the case, I feel like they
did it too soon.
I agree.
Like if anything, it would have been like end of season 2. They do that.
Yeah. So I guess where all this leads to is we need to wait and see.
Yeah.
But just right here, right now, knowing what we know, I just wish we had more time with her so that this would have had more impact. I just really feel like it fell flat. Yeah.
It would have been a little bit better to have that, but I think that's potentially a stepping stone for season 2. Because you could tell at the end, Pike wasn't really happy about that decision.
Yeah. And I doubt he was happy that his girlfriend was the one that had to execute it too.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, is it really his girlfriend though? Because he slept with the other woman midway through the season.
Well, I mean, whatever you want to call it, professional hookup,
professional booty call,
friends with benefits. What do you call friends with benefits in the future?
Officers with benefits.
All right, I'll accept it.
So one of the things that kind of really stood out with me with this episode was that there was a certain level of cheesiness to the overly dramatic points where it just seemed a little ridiculous. I'm not sure if that kind of fit with you guys.
Elaborate on this, please, because
I didn't get cheese.
Yeah, when you finished the episode, you saw it before I did, and you sent me a animated photo.
Of cheese, giant cheese,
of cheese being poured onto nachos in a very thick and liquidy state, and I got very hungry.
It was very sensual too.
It was very sensual.
Well, there are things like the whole reveal of the Romulans being exactly like Vulcans. And like the camera angle pans and it's like, explain this, Spock. And Spock's like, I'm curious just as much as you are. And it felt very overly dramatic. And there were moments that were along through the episode that kind of felt that way to me. I guess I'm a little singled out with that. And you guys didn't feel it.
Okay. No, you know what? I get it. I chuckled a little bit at the single eyebrow raise by Spock, and then they cut to commercial. They cut to act break, you know?
I wonder almost as if now that I know that they had the TOS episode, that they were trying to do a lot of the same shots in homage to it, and that's the reason why it felt that way. Because I can't wait now that I know about that. I can't wait to see that episode because I kind of suspect that may be the reason now.
Yeah, I suspect that's exactly why. In doing some reading, prepping for this recording, I discovered there are a lot of homages to Balance and Terror, probably more than you realize. I'm going to refrain from talking about them because I think it'll make Balance of Terror all the better when we do watch it. But it's going to be one of those things that, once we watch Balance of Terror, I'm probably going to want to watch this episode again.
Yeah, just to compare it. So how about you, Majeed? Were you kind of feeling that it wasn't really that cheesy, but you kind of liked it?
I was totally vested in this episode. I think Drew, I messaged you right again because we're best friends. I messaged you partway through the episode, and then
yo, you know what? I've gotten comments from one or two of our listeners that you two pick on me so much, and you know what, now that they mentioned it to me, I want to admit I see that a lot from you, Majeed.
Quiet, Brad.
I don't pick on you. Hold on. I take exception to that. I don't pick on you, Brad.
It's true. You're nice to me.
I try to be. I disagree with you a lot, but that's different.
Well, I mean, technically Brad deserves it because he inadvertently gaslights.
Stop gaslighting Brad. Answer his question. Now I feel like I have to defend Brad all the time. Let me be your hero, baby.
I don't even remember where we're at this point.
Oh God.
How'd you feel about the cheese?
Oh yeah, no, I didn't really get a lot of cheese, but I was also like very, very invested in this episode. Drew, I keep saying I sent it to you, but I sent it to our group. The you have my curiosity, now you have my attention gift.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because I listen. After that, I put my phone down for the entire episode. Like I didn't pick it up once. I even got a few work messages. I was like, no, I'm not.
No, I'm actually going to pay attention to this.
Right. Yeah. And that's super important to me, guys. Having my full attention for the episode.
That does say a lot to me because I know with you flipping through the phone is kind of a commonality for you.
You trying to say, Brad? Now you're picking on me, Brad.
So gentlemen, anything else you want to talk about or cover for this episode?
What'd you guys think about the Farragut?
I don't know enough of it. It was mentioned in the Kelvin universe, but like Drew's yelled at me before, I can't talk about the Farragut, the Kelvin universe.
Well, I'm more kind of leaning towards like what'd you think of the ship design?
Oh,
yeah. Because I geek out about that kind of stuff. I love that kind of stuff.
It seemed pretty, basic to me.
You guys are making me mad.
I mean, it was. Listen, Drew. It was an okay ship.
You're an okay ship.
Thank you. Even Kirk, James T, was like, oh, the Enterprise is sweet. The moment he got into it, even Sam was like, oh, he's jealous because the Farragut is garbage.
Did you approve of Kirk's strategy to bring all these like unknown ships into battle?
Yeah, I thought it was sweet.
Well, those were like mining ships, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Unmanned mining ships. And I guess his logic is, the Romulans have never seen our fleet. We've never seen theirs. Haha, bluff, bluff, bluff.
That was an interesting twist. It seemed a bit of a stretch to me. It's like, how did he get access to all these ships within like a period of time?
It was convenient.
Plot armor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't overly impress me as far as a very good tactical strategy. But hey, you know, it worked for the temporary moment. Makes me kind of wonder if they did something similar in the original episode.
Something else that stood out to me too, Brad, and I'm saying Brad particular because Majeed doesn't really have a point of reference for this. I'm sorry, Majeed. I don't mean to exclude you, but it's...
Stop bullying me.
Pike took a very diplomatic approach to his dealings with the Romulans, one that sort of backfired. But I feel like Jean-Luc Picard would have also taken the same approach.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty accurate statement because it's... what did Pike say to Kirk in the episode where it was something along the lines of like, yeah, you're gonna take more risks than me? Geez, I can't remember that line.
Yeah,
but he said something along those lines where it's he knows Kirk will take a much bigger risk while he would take a much more diplomatic approach to it. To your point, I think just like Jean-Luc would. I kind of feel like some of the captains we've seen in the past are kind of hit or miss because there's really certain ways to handle it, but I think in this case to the reason why things go so well is that Kirk takes the more aggressive approach, which works better for dealing with Romulans.
Do you think it's just this situation in particular? Like, I'm just like, the whole time I'm watching it, I'm thinking to myself, like, all right, what if we had Jean-Luc Picard instead of Christopher Pike in the captain's chair here? And how would this approach have gone? Would it have gone the same? Would it have gone differently? And I'm wondering if it's just a matter of the circumstances, because they're coming off of a war. When Picard is in charge of the Enterprise, it's peacetime. So that diplomacy is maybe a little bit more important.
Well, like, to me, it's kind of the when Pike was having the conversation with Spock and explaining to him, he's from the past, he was sent to the future to identify potentially the bad decision or the bad thing that's happening. Spock's like, well, you can't change it. You have to see why it's bad. You have to do your normal actions. And so he chose diplomacy, whereas Kirk would have done a much more aggressive approach, right, and therefore probably would have prevented it from occurring.
Right.
To me, I think it's a good show of the difference in captain styles and
agreed,
and how how things could turn out poorly, if somebody is in a different situation or a different spot.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, Majeed, let's start with you, buddy. How are you feeling with the overall feel of this episode? What really called out to you? What maybe you didn't like, or was this a really amazing episode for you?
This was an amazing episode, and I can't think of anything I didn't like. That's why I would give it a 10.
Oh wow!
Everything from the tension to the the whole. Break canon for me, show me, give me what I wanted. Let me see Pike continue his career. I think that was really good. I think that was really good. Sorry, Stella is clawing on my chair. So it gave me Pike in his career. It gave me an older Pike, an uninjured Pike, somebody who knows his future and said, "Well, I'm gonna take control of my future," and at the end, he accepted it, which, by the way, that leads to some pretty interesting storytelling for season 2, right? Mm-hmm. He knows his future. He's fully accepted his death, or not death, his
fate,
his accident, right? Yeah. He knows it's going to happen, and he's made peace with it,
right?
And I'm totally there for it. Fully vested. Put my phone down the entire episode. So 10.
Nice.
Wow. How about you, Drew? How did this episode really call out to you? Was it very powerful? Did you enjoy it? Disliked it? What are your thoughts?
My favorite kind of Star Trek episode is alternate timeline episodes. I love them. I love everything they do. I love the idea of seeing how a butterfly effect could change everything, right? One small thing is different and the whole world is upside down. And I don't mean in a way like the mirror universe, because the mirror universe has its moments, but it's not the same. I like those little details that change the course of history in Star Trek and how those types of things play out. I like seeing alternate uniforms. I like seeing different captains in different roles, or different crew members on different ships, or certain crew members being dead or otherwise removed that normally wouldn't have been affected by the prime, in the prime timeline. And I wished that, like, part of what I really enjoyed about this episode was the surprise that I did not know that they were going to be doing this. But I also, at the same time, really, really wished that I had an opportunity to see Balance of Terror before watching this so that I could truly appreciate it. And I think I'm looking forward more than anything to watching Balance of Terror, then circling back and rewatching this and picking up on all the things that I missed the first time around. I can't wait to do that. I do have to kind of hold them to task for the way they handled number one. But I think that's a long-term problem with season one, and I'm not sure if it's fair to hold it against this episode.
Well, again, it's something that we always talk about, where we have ideas of how things could play out. Because I remember we talked about when Hemmer died, would they replace with Scotty next episode? And right now, I mean, technically we see Scotty, but that's 7 years in the future, and that's after Scotty should be on the ship at that point. Yeah. So I guess from looking at it to how the episode is, being a time related, where do you kind of stand with the self-contained story?
9.5.
Ooh,
it's a real high episode there for you.
That's my highest score yet.
I definitely agree. Like, one of my favorite type of themes is that that time travel alternate timeline type of stuff, because those are always the most fun. They are very different from the mirror universe, but like the alternate timelines, I feel like they have more leeway in doing with the things that they never really are going to do that are going to stick, because then that way they can just have this one thing. I mean, I think back to some of my most favorites, like the Star Trek Voyager Year of Hell, where it was just like one episode of them surviving this violent thing, and like things like that were just so much fun to watch. When they, at the end of the episode, giant reset, everything's back to the way it was, and it really is a fun way to tell a lot of different stories. I do agree about the number one part. That didn't really bother me as much. There were some cheesy points that kind of made me, kind of throw my hands up, be like, what's this? But that was before I knew that there was a lot of homage to the original TOS episode. So I'm gonna give it some benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna be a 9 with this episode.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a pretty solid episode. I didn't like it as much as Majeed, but it was definitely a overall pretty solid episode for me.
Yeah, Majeed, you've given 2 episodes this season a 10, Memento Mori and this episode.
I stand by those numbers.
I think you've given your 10s to worthy episodes, and Brad gave Elysian Kingdom a 10.
Yeah,
I think that was a worthy episode.
Yeah, I think this season, I'm looking forward to talking about it when we do our season wrap up, to really discuss how everything was, and I'm interested to see if I'm able to write a quick summary for the entire season without having it be a 45-minute summary. So let's see how that goes, gentlemen.
I would anticipate that our season wrap-up will quite possibly be a longer episode than usual.
Well, I look forward to that, gentlemen.
Yeah, me too.
Anything else you two would like to add before we part ways today?
Brad, even though I bully you, I love you.
Thank you, Majeed. That means a lot.
But I love Drew more.
Oh, yep. On that note, folks, thanks for listening and have a good one.
Good night, guys.
See you later.
Good day. Morning.
Thanks for listening to yet another Star Trek podcast. We're a part of the Retro Sessions Network. This episode was recorded on July 8th, 2022, and is hosted by Brad, Drew, and Majeed. This episode was edited by Dastardly Drew. Bravado Brad wrote the synopsis, and Miraculous Majeed takes care of the artwork. A special thanks to William Grobelar Music for our music Warp Speed and To the Stars. You can find him on SoundCloud. We'll have links in the show notes. Also, special thanks to George Rattau for his additional artwork. He made us look like Lower Deck characters. Hit him up on Fiverr and you can too. We'll drop a link in the show notes as well. We'd love to hear from you. Hit us up on TikTok, Instagram, or Twitter at yetanotherstpod, or shoot us an email, yetanotherstpod@gmail.com. We've also got a Discord room, so come chat with us and say hello. Next week, we'll be doing a season recap of Strange New Worlds. Tune on in to hear our thoughts for the entire season. Like our podcast? Give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. It's free for support, and we appreciate the kindness. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.